I was assigned in the Office of Secretary of Defense in the Office of Stability Operations. My office was just over here. It started like an ordinary day. I came into the office, we started catching up, checking emails, and then we heard that something was happening in New York City, so we turned on our TV and started to see the coverage of the World Trade Center having been hit by something and in flames. We started speculating, was this an accident, was it a terrorist attack? And then I think we heard or saw the second plane go into the second tower, and we knew that the United States was under attack, and we already began speculating or deducing that this must have been a terrorist, perhaps Al-Qaeda, what that meant for us at the Pentagon. And we were wondering if there'd be more attacks, potentially military targets. And it was shortly after that we felt a violent shaking of our office. Felt like an earthquake or a big jolt. It took a couple seconds to sort of start to put together that we'd been hit by something. I didn't imagine at that point that it was an aircraft. I figured maybe a truck bomb or something like that. But immediately the sirens went off and we were told to evacuate. So we started to leave our office and make our way out. But I'm a physician, so I thought I would see if there were any people I could help medically, if I could provide medical assistance. So I sort of made my way to where the smoke was coming from. And initially it became an effort just to clear people out of the hallways, because the smoke was thick black jet fuel smoke from floor to ceiling. You couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. So I had to get wet paper towels to hold in front of my mouth and practically crawl on my belly just to find people and direct them into the inner courtyard, because their instinct was to go out, but that was all destroyed and blocked, but they could come to the courtyard, which was safe. So I cleared a few corridors that way, and then I ended up needing to get some air myself. I was becoming overcome by the fumes and the smoke, so I came into this passageway, this open air passageway, and I was amazed to see that that this wall here had been blown out and there was a landing gear there. And so that's when I knew for certain that we'd been hit by an aircraft, and I saw bits of the fuselage and other evidence of an aircraft. And so this is in between the B and the C ring, so the plane had to fly through essentially three buildings, three rings to get here. And there was flames and smoke up this side, and some people had to jump out some of these windows. We were hoping that some rescue crews and some fire rescue would get here, but they weren't getting here way inside here in time. I think they were focused on the outside, so it was really us or nobody. We didn't have any gear or special, we didn't have any special equipment or protective gear, but a lot of us were in the Navy and we had basic training on shipboard, fighting fires. In the Navy, everyone's a responder on ship, so we figured we took it into our own hands and we got fire extinguishers and we started fighting our way in. And it was really a horrible scene of wreckage, and the ceiling was collapsing and pipes were broken and wires were arcing electricity. We had to take our shirts off because they were melting, our shoes were melting. We had to wrap our t-shirts around our face to breathe. And we got farther in, and I just caught a glimpse of a man in this big bombed out space that just looked like an apocalypse. It was fire and smoke, and this guy was trapped under his chair, his desk, his cubicle, parts of the ceiling had him pinned. And he'd been there for a while, and it looked like he was about to sort of give up hope. You could tell he was on his last legs. And there was a Navy captain, Dave Thomas, there trying to pull some of the debris off of him. He wasn't able to budge it. And I was yelling at the man to get out, because people out here were telling us the building was collapsing, because we'd hear secondary explosions and we would feel the foundation shifting. So I was trying to get him to move, but he was trapped. He couldn't do it. So out of desperation, I crawled in there with him, tried to yank him out. I was yelling at him to move. I told him, I'm a Navy doctor. I'm going to get you out of here, but you got to help us. You got to go. He just couldn't do it. He was out of energy. He was suffering from smoke and smoke inhalation. And so out of desperation, I couldn't budge it. And so I laid on my back and I put my legs there. With my legs, I was able to raise the debris just enough to get him some wiggle room, and we wiggled him out. I handed him off to Captain Thomas, who then brought him out. And I yelled to see if anyone else was in there. I didn't hear anything. People were yelling, you gotta get out, you gotta get out. So I lowered the debris, I rolled over and crawled out and came stumbling out. And just as we all three came out here into this passageway, that whole area collapsed. Mr. Henson ended up doing well. He was in the hospital for a few days, and we ended up meeting after he got discharged to home. I got to meet his family, and it was really rewarding. Yeah, well, I think that day, the events of that day, I think they really reaffirmed my commitment to serve my country in uniform and to be in the military, and it really drove home what it means, and I wanted to be part of the response. The next day, almost everyone here at the Pentagon was back at work, and the building was still on fire, and that shows the dedication. We were already planning our response. It just made me more committed than ever to serve my country, and made me recognize what the military values, honor, courage, and commitment are all about, and not leaving anybody behind. So I think that was the impact on me.